Hi, everyone. Welcome to Create Your Own Digital Breakout with me, your presenter and facilitator, Jen Giffen. I'm Jen. I can be found on social media at Virtual GIF. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm coming to you from just north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am a teacher, librarian, an edtech specialist, a podcaster, a sketchnoter, a Google certified educator, trainer, and innovator, and of course, a trainer here with ShakeUpLearning. And I'm so excited to do this with you today. I use digital breakouts all the time to introduce activities as scavenger hunts, to show people around the library when they first arrive at the school and such. I think they're a really great way to get kids engaged and excited. And also, once you've done a few, kids can build them on their own. I've built these with students as young as 4th grade, all the way up through to the end of the 12th grade. So let's talk about it. First of all, what is it? What is a digital breakout? You may have heard of escape rooms before, right? These are the things that you go to probably with a group of friends, and you have to solve clues in a room that you're locked in. And your goal is in a certain amount of time to break out of that room. Well, here's the thing. In education, they don't really allow us to lock kids in a room and say, you just have to try to make your way out. It's illegal. Don't do it. So instead, what sort of came about was this idea of digital breakouts. And with digital breakouts, you create, in my case, I'm going to show you a Google site with an embedded Google form. And using the information on the Google site, you put answers to sort of clues or digital locks, if you will, into the Google form. And once you've answered all of the locks, right, you've unlocked them all, then you break out. You can build these so that they take a long time or a really short time. And I'm going to let you try one right now. So before you build, I want you to experience one. I'm going to invite you to go to bit.ly/bdaybo, and it is linked in the slide deck. Once you get there, here's what you need to do. You need to use this entire site. From the very top of this page, read everything. There's the embedded Google form. You're going to scroll to below that form. There's more information. There's pictures. You'll notice some things that are underlined. There's a couple of little tasks you're going to read. And with all of the information here, you should be able to unlock the locks. You're looking for a 5-direction lock, okay, using U is up, D is down, R is right, L is left. Make sure they're in all caps. 4-digit number lock. A color lock. I'm not telling you how many colors there are. You're going to use, again, all caps, put them together and use the acronym. So this here would be yellow, red, green, blue, purple, yellow, whatever. Another 5-digit lock. And then finally, an 8-letter word lock. So it's a word. It's an actual word. And I want you to put that in all caps too. Once you put an answer in, just to let you know, you can hit, sort of click, you put in your attempt, click outside the box. And if it's wrong, it's going to turn red around. See that red box? If it's correct though, guess what? You have solved that clue. And once you have them all, you'll be able to hit submit, but you won't be able to hit submit until you have all of the answers in there. Okay? You ready to go? Here's the thing. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. You should be able to, if you're really keen, break out in that time. And if not, you'll have an idea of what works for you and what doesn't. So let's start the timer. You have 10 minutes starting now. So I hope you had fun with that, and I hope it wasn't too stressful for you. Let's dive into how you can make these with your students. The first thing you need to do is come up with a theme, right? So think about your content. Are you going to create something that's curriculum-based? Is it for modern learning? Is it to engage a group? Is it for fun as a team building activity? Once you know your theme, make sure that you build something that you can use again and again, maybe with other groups or with other people, or something that's easily sort of tweaked, because the first one you create is going to take you some time. Putting thought into these takes a while. They come easier as you build more, but that first one takes time. So you want to make sure you can use it a couple of times. Okay, that's step one. Once you have your theme, you're going to create the shell. So like I had, you're going to create that Google site. And in order to do that, let's head on over to Google Sites itself. So here I am on Google Sites, and I'm just going to open a blank site. I'm actually going to recreate elements of the birthday breakout that you saw, that I created, that you just tried here today. So sites will load eventually. Here we go. And at this point, you can personalize these as much as you want. So in my case, I took the title here, I clicked inside, and I said birthday party. Okay, so I'm going to change that, birthday party. And I can also change the image of the background. I'm going to select something, and let's say I'm going to search for about a party. Go, maybe I'll be more specific and say birthday party. Kind of like this one with the balloons. Awesome. Here you go. So pretty easy. I've just literally clicked in and said, birthday party, and then I've changed the image in that bottom right-hand corner. Once I have that done, I start looking at the next phase. So in this case, you're going to add some clues to your site. When you create the clues, remember that the digital locks are based on the traditional locks that we use. So we're looking for word locks, number locks, color locks, and directional are the kind I use. If you can think of any other clever ones, by all means, go ahead and do it. Anything that you can put into a Google form will work, provided that you can put some sort of validation to make sure that they have to match that exact answer. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit. So adding your clues, you're like, okay, where do I even start? This is like the gold mine of resources. And there's tons available on the web. But this here, if on slide number 8 of the slide deck, if you click this image, it's going to take you to a Google Doc with 50 or more different ways that you can create clues for a digital breakout. And you'll notice it hasn't been updated in a while. So some of them, this is not my resource. Some of the links might be broken, but most of them are okay. So when you click on any of them, you might see things like this. This is one to create a UPS, or kind of like a barcode of some sort, right? You can generate your own barcode. Maybe this is scanned in some way. There's also, breaking news. So you can have this like, hey, this is breaking news, and you can change your headline to like, Mrs. Giffen is missing, right? And we can say this, and you can have your ticker. So maybe Raiders beat Bengals in 12-4 upset, right? We can put things about our school mascots or whatnot. And then if you want, you can upload an image as well. So your image can be, whatever really you want it to be, something uploaded from your local device. There's also things in here like Morse code. So I can put help, I am in room 2004, right? And then you can also make it play, which is pretty cool. And you can download the sound. You can, have the image, and there's a whole bunch of ways that you could use Morse code. Students would just need to know how to decipher that, and they'd have to probably do some internet searching. The other things that you could do in here is you can have a newspaper clipping. So you can have the daily whatever, right? Have the date here as they have the headline, and then you can enter the story as you want. So there might be clues there. One thing I love to do in this is just use improper sort of capitalization so that they have to look for the capitals that are out of place to pull those out to have a word clue, for example. This is one thing you can do. And on the one I created, you saw that there was a receipt there, right, for the cake place. And all I did was come to this website, fakereceipt.us, and entered all the information. And as I changed the information, so I can say like virtual gift baking, you'll notice as I put the store name there, it actually changed it here. And as I enter more information, it will create my new receipt for me. Pretty fun stuff. So in order to then, input those, you're going to have to save. So let's give an example of one. I'm going to come back here and do this virtual GIF baking. I'm going to fill in all this information and speed it up so you don't need to watch me, but you'll get the idea here. So as you can see, I've created this, little receipt. I can simply click on the image and it will download it to my computer. The other thing you could probably do is, oh no, it doesn't let you right click. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to open it. It saved it as a zip file in this case. And again, it's going to be different. You're gonna have to do some playing with every site that you go to. But here it is, okay. It's actually, it's saving it as a GIF. Very interesting. Now from this point, I'm going to go back to that website that I was building and I'm going to insert an image. I'm going to upload that image that I just created. So I have that saved. Here. And it's as easy as that. It uploads and there's my first clue. Now, let's say I wanted to put some context to this clue above it. That's what I did earlier. I can either insert a text box here or on Google Sites, you can also just click, single click inside, right click. I can double click anywhere, add some text. And then, I said like task 1 and I might make that, a little bit bigger. Can resize it. Now, Google Sites, if you've never used it before, is very particular about how it wants you to format. So it won't let you make it look ugly, but you may not be able to position things necessarily where you want. Okay, so I have task 1 there. And again, I might put in another text box saying, don't forget to pick up the cake. And again, I can drag this. You'll see that there's little dots above that text box and I can drag it. It will show me where it's going to place it based on that big blue bar. And there it is. I can, align it however I want. So there is my first task uploaded. Pretty easy. I've put a title, I've put some instructions, and then I've put the image that it relates to. Woohoo! Yay! We love this. All right, so the next thing that you really need to make sure that you're doing is you want to, create the clues Google form. And this is where, the magic sort of happens. And this is where it takes a little bit more time, if you will, to put the form in. But finding the clues once you have them all up there, just make sure you're keeping track of what your answers would be so you can build the form. Now, it doesn't really matter the order you do this, right? You can do your clues and build everything onto the site first. That's the way I do it. Or you can build the form and then put the clues on. But I just like the clues to be there to make sure that it's right so I don't have to go back and make changes on the form if things don't go as I planned. So let's head on over then and make a new Google form. And the easiest way for me to do this is I just go to forms.new. I go to forms.new and it's going to open a brand new untitled Google form for me. Exciting. So I keep it pretty simple. Sometimes I like to match if you are like me and like things to look all pretty. I like to sort of match to the colors that I have. And I think, is that right? What colors do I have on here? So I've got, it's more of like a light green. So I'm going to come back here and see, okay, can I do, a light green. I might even, here's a little pro tip for you. I have, oops, wrong one. I have a Google Chrome extension called Color Pick Eyedropper. And I can click this and actually get in here and say the exact color that I have. So I want, okay, that's a nice green. I'm going to copy that code. I'm going to come back here and I'm actually going to place that so it's the exact same, right? That's pretty handy. So yeah, again, that's color, it's called, I'm just going to pull it up here, Color Pick Eyedropper, and it's a Google Chrome extension. Woohoo, very exciting stuff. All right, so the next thing, or the first thing that I need to do on this form is give some context. So if you go back to mine, you'll see at the top, I've said, it's your birthday, and then I got personal information, and I do that just because I really like to see, because I've shared this at multiple conferences, this actual game, and I have like over 5,000 people, and it just tells me where they are in the world to see how far it's gone. I use it to show the power of sharing on social media and sharing in conferences when I talk to students about building these. You may not include that, because if you're just going to be using it with your group, that's fine. You might want their name on it. So I would put, the name of the sort of theme to start. So again, we're going to say it's your birthday. Awesome. And then you'll notice back here again, I go into saying, unlock this. So I might actually even copy all of this right out. So unlock the party by answering below. Use the whole web page to find the answers to the locks. So I can just put that in here, right? If I wanted to, I could also just make this text, and I might put, one there and then one in the description. Depends how you want it to look. You can always preview this, of course, by clicking the eyeball. So I might say, okay, which one do I like the look of? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it underneath the it's your party. So I'm going to erase this part here. Awesome. So the next thing that I had in my breakout, if you come back, is just the locks. What are they? Directional, 4-digit, color lock, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to come in here now, and let's say that this is a 4-digit lock. Now, when I was first building these, I thought, oh gosh, how am I going to remember to put the same thing every time? So I've included this for you. On slide number 9 here, you will see that whatever you choose to use, this is how I do it, right? So I say word lock, and I might say the number of words, or 5-number lock, or whatever. And then the question format is this, and then if there needs to be a description. So for example, if it was a color lock, I might use this description: R equals, or red equals R, orange equals O, yellow, and you can copy and paste this directly from my slide deck that you have access to, so that you have consistency. Because the one thing that I often forget is like that use all caps, and you want all caps because it is when we set it up so that it will only unlock with a very specific answer. You want to make sure that there's no problems with like, oh, they put a capital at the beginning, or they put like all lowercase. So you need to make sure things like that. So I might come in here and just say 4-digit lock, and then I might include another one that says 6-letter word. And in order to say that it needs to be all caps, you're going to come down here to those 3 little dots. In Canada, we call donut holes Timbits, because our big chain for donuts, like a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, is Tim Hortons, and they have Timbits. That's what they call them. So I call those Timbits because it's a little stack of Timbits, right? It looks like 3 little donut holes. So I go down my Timbits there, and I am going to write a description in here. So I'm going to put use all caps so that they know. Now, the other thing you're going to want to make sure with each of these is that you make every single answer required. They need to be required, because otherwise they can just hit submit and get through. Now, the other thing is I can now put any 4 digits in here and just submit it, because it doesn't have to match. And this is where you need to pay attention to make sure that it's not like I did once, an activity that you spend a few hours creating and students get out like this because A, the answers are shown to them, or B, you haven't made it so it's locked and they're like, oh, well, I did it. And you're like, oh, you didn't do it right. And then, there's sort of that exchange where they're like, but I got through, so I don't understand what the problem is. So here's what you need to do. Once you have your locks set up, and you have your descriptions there. You want to click those Timbits again, and you want to go to response validation. Okay, response validation. And now it will say, okay, here you go. What does your answer have to be? This validates the answer. So we want a number. And in this case, we're going to say it's equal to. So it has to be, let's say it's 1, 2, 2, 6. Okay. Now, in your custom error text, watch what happens. If you leave this blank, okay, I'm going to leave this blank. I'm going to go and try to fill this out. So I come in and I say, okay, I think the answer is 1, 2, 2, 4. We know it's not that because we just saw it. I hit enter. Look what happens. I'm going to hit submit. It says, oh no, your answer must be equal to this. It gives away the answer. Why does it do this? Oh my gosh, so frustrating. This is what happened to me once, and it was a disaster because then they had all the clues. So we ended up just pivoting and they had to make their own afterwards. But oh, what a bummer for me. So what you need to do is not only fill this out, but also where it says custom error text. I tend to write something like try again for my older students who I think, okay, they should be able to figure this out. If I'm feeling like they might need a hint of some sort, I could also put a hint there. Like hint, check the receipt, right? Oh, I should probably spell that right. Check the receipt. I might have that there as well. So now if I go into that, that form and fill it out, and again, I write 1, 2, 2, 4 instead, I hit submit. It's like, nope, try again, check the receipt. So anything you write or type into this area here, the custom error text, is what will appear when they get it wrong. So make sure you put something there. If you want to be really cheeky, you could just put like just a period, and watch what happens. In this case, I'm going to do that 1, 2, 2, 4 again. I hit submit and it's just like, nope, not done. So that's when you can be like really challenging for students or any user, because you could do this with staff too, right? It's such a fun activity. At that point, if I put in the right answer though, you'll notice when I hit submit, it's like, yep, we're good. As soon as it turns white, like you saw in your examples that you went through with the birthday breakout that I created, it is all good to go. All right. If you have a word clue, you're going to do the same sort of thing. You're going to go to response validation. And in this case, you're going to choose instead, you can choose a length or number or text. Some people use text, but here's the problem. Let's say you use text and you only have contains or doesn't contain. It doesn't allow you to do an exact match. So if I write the word cake, and I want it in all caps, and my custom error, we're going to have that so we don't reveal, is try again. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to have like 4,000 little things open here. If I write the word, instead of cake, I write the word cakes, it's going to allow it because it contains cake in it. So how do we get around that? How do we make it so it's an exact match? We don't choose text. Instead, we choose regular expression. And it says looking for a pattern. So in this case, I write the word cake, and I'm going to do that custom error. And one more time, if I write the word cakes now, why didn't that go? Oh, sorry. I have to change it to matches. Oh, this is what you want to do. So we want the word cake. I like making mistakes in these, right? And I'm not actually going to edit that out, even though I can, because I want to show you how you do it. So make sure you do that like matches, not just contains, matches, cake. I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to come in here. I'm actually just going to reload the same one. And I'm going to write the word cakes instead. So remember, when it's contains, it let it happen. When I go to matches, it doesn't like it. But if I just hit cake, we're good to go. Awesome, right? So that's our big thing here. You want to make sure for anything that's any kind of letters. And regular expression, I think, allows you to put numbers and letters mixed if you wanted an alphanumeric kind of lock, which we don't have as on our list, but you certainly could do that. So you want to make sure it's a regular expression, or if you are using numbers, it's numbers and you change it to equal to. And of course, don't forget that custom error text. Okay, so I've set everything up here. I have a custom error text for both. I'm going to put those in. I'm going to double, triple check everything I have here. That's good. That's good. That's good. I have everything to be required. Amazing. So now I go back to my site and I need to get this form onto my site. Really easy. Again, if you've used Google Sites before, you know it's simple, easy, drag and drop. If you haven't, all you need to go to is make sure you're on the Insert tab and you're going to scroll down until you see Forms. And it's going to go into your Google Drive and look for Google Forms. And it generally lists them in reverse chronological order. So if you have done this here, like I have most recently, I can take this now and literally just click it and click Insert. And it's going to insert it into my Google site. Now, you'll notice it's kind of cut off. So you might need to resize this. I always do. I make sure you can see the whole thing so that they're not scrolling, which is why on my example, I have it right there in the middle. Now, when I first created this, I kind of liked this. I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. But some people lose sight of the fact that the clues are underneath. So you don't really want that. So what if I were to redesign this at this point, and what I'll suggest that you do is have them take now this like task that they did, like task number 1 here, and maybe pull that up. And then, you know, their instructions. So let me get actually a hold of that there and put that underneath. And then the image of that receipt there. So this way they can see the locks that they need to unlock, but they also see the tasks so they're not confused. Okie dokie. So we now have, you know, a site that looks good. We now have our form in there, and we have validation, and we make sure we have that custom error text so that our clues aren't given away. We have as many clues or tasks as you want. I called them tasks for this because I set the tone like with the birthday and that. So you're like, okay, great. Now what? Now what do we do? So the next thing that you really need to make sure you do when you're all ready is to hit that publish button. So when you hit publish, this is what's going to make it active. So I want it to be B-Day Breakout maybe. And I hit publish, and then it will publish to the web. And at this point, I can share that URL. And if I click the little drop down beside publish, I can go to view published site, and it will show me what it will look like when I share it. Now, one thing I like to do is create a shortened URL. I like to use bit.ly, so it's easier to get to. But there it is. It's all there, and they can fill it out right in here. So remember, we had 1,226. They hit enter. They click out of it, and they're happy. Or if I do 4, doesn't like it. Beautiful. If I do 1, 2, this, I hit cake, and I hit submit. And it's like, okay, great. But look, it just says, oh, your response has been recorded. Well, that's not very fun, is it? Let's change that. So if you did break out of mine, you'll see that it said something kind of fun. At this point, in order to change that, you can come in here to settings. And instead of that, you go to presentation. And you can say, hooray, you have planned a great birthday party. I hope it is a success. You have succeeded in your tasks. Congratulations. Okay, now you can't, unfortunately, put any kind of like fun little like GIF or a picture, which I really wish they could, but you can't. So again, if I come back to my site now and I go to the published site, I'm going to come here again. I'm just going to refresh it. And when I refresh it, it should take me back. There we go. So now when I hit that 1,226 and I write the word cake and I hit submit, yay, we've done it. So that's what you need to make sure you do too, right? You want some sort of a message at the end to tell them that they've broken out. Now, there's other things you can do as well. You could put a link there to another Google form that they could fill out, and it would maybe automatically email them a certificate. And if you want to learn how to do that, in this series, in the ShakeUpLearning Back to School series, I am doing an Automate with Autocrat. So if you want to learn how to do that, make sure you jump on over and watch that video too, because I'll show you exactly how you can do that. But you can put the link Same thing in here. When you go to that cog for settings, under presentations, you could put links in here. Now, sometimes they do have to cut and paste the links. They're not always active. I'm not totally sure why. Make sure you start it with the HTTP // and that helps. And that's that. So a few little tips that I want to tell you now that you sort of have an idea of how to build one. There's a couple of things that you might want to know. First of all, a lot of you are probably like, okay, this is great. That birthday one, though, I was stuck on some. Is she going to show us? Is she going to tell us the answers? And I wasn't going to, I really wasn't. I was like, no, I'm going to keep them, but I will, because I want you to see some of the thinking behind how I built these clues. Okay. So the first thing you'll notice is it says, happy birthday. Today's your special day and it's time to get right down to business, party planning. The party is tonight and you have a lot left to plan. So get up and add on. The party's not going to plan itself. You will find your list down below. So at looking at this, what a lot of people think is they go, okay, they go down below and they're all excited and they're like, okay, here's a task. There's 5 clues, but only 4 tasks. So what do I do? And people get obsessed with this image, right? This like party disco image. That's a red herring. Sorry, there's Canadian sorry for you. I put that in there on purpose. And I think when we're doing this kind of activity with students who are maybe a bit older or certainly adults, I love to put a red herring. I love to put certain things on the website that have nothing to do with the clues to help them realize that not everything matters, but to look at everything from different angles. So a lot of people see this as okay, this must be the direction because like he's pointing, it looks like to the left and she's pointing to the right and her hands are up and a down and an up and a down and down. And people think it's the hands and they start putting those in. It's not that. That first direction lock, okay, that first one up there is actually from the text above. So today's your special day. It's time to get right down to business, left to plan. So get up and Adam and the party's not going to plan itself. You'll find the list down below. So I put that there as to separate those who are really thinking outside the box and those who are looking just at like, okay, you've laid it all out for me. Another thing that you'll notice is that I actually put these clues. So the directional lock is the first one. The 4-digit lock is the second, does align with the second clue. You don't need to do it that way. A linear way certainly helps your audience, but you can put the clues in any order that you want. Okie dokie. So coming down here, you'll see every party needs good music. Make a playlist. Anything that's underlined is going to be a hyperlink. And for some students, you might want to tell them that if they're not really familiar, younger students certainly. You can also give hints when you're doing these. So you can tell students, okay, you're going to work, and I always have them do it as a small group if they can. And I say, you get one clue and use it wisely, and it has to be asked for unanimously. So they come here and they're looking, what's the birthday list? And you'll notice that each of the artists here have a number in their name. So 5, 2, 1, and 4, and that is the number lock. And all I did for here was I just created a playlist. I thought of bands that have numbers in their names. I created a playlist on my own YouTube. I just linked directly to that, right? Once you create your playlist, you can just go to share. And that's the link that I used to hyperlink on the site. And off I went with that. Okay. Don't forget to invite your friends. And again, that's underlined and you can come in here. And I actually had to change this. I used to have a different one that people couldn't tell if it was yellow or orange, the dot. So we got into some, arguments like, oh, I thought it was orange, it's not fair. But this is my color lock. So you get red, blue, yellow, red, yellow, blue. And if you put the RBY, RYB, you get into that lock pretty easily. Okay, so a good host serves food. Go pick up some food at the store. Don't forget your wallet like you did last time. And the wallet is the big clue here. This is when you look up, the next thing we're looking for is a 5-digit number lock. And you'll see that there's 5 digits here, 17462. That's another red herring. So I could have put, don't forget to say hi to your favorite cashier. And that could have been your clue. But in this case, the word wallet tells you that it's the money. So the 5 digits you need are 12577 will get you unlocked here. Let's see, 12577. And sure enough, it's unlocked. And then the final one is the text messages. And this here, you can completely customize. It's on that list. And you can find other ones as well. Just search like fake text message pictures or something like that, and you can enter them or create your own fake text messages if you Google that. And I was able to put, my carrier, that's my carrier here in Canada, the person, and then it gives you this back and forth of what this conversation might look like. And in looking at this is one that I think is the hardest. When I did a beta on this, and I'm going to talk about betas near the end, because you do want to run beta tests on all of these so you don't run into the issue like me that all the locks just unlock. Oh, surprise, no fun. I was doing this with my dad, who was about 70 at the time, and one of my boys was in the room, and he would have been maybe 4. And my dad was looking, he's like, he couldn't find this one clue. He couldn't figure out that 8-letter word. He's like, I don't know. And he was reading. I said, Dad, read slowly. And so he started reading, checking things off my to-do list, realized some things I seem to have missed. And I said, slow down and pay attention to some punctuation. Okay. Happy to help however I can. You're a pal. Thank you, man. I have the cake and the tunes. All I need now are some. And it was my kid, who was in junior kindergarten or pre-K at the time, who yelled, balloons, because he heard the rhyme. And that's all it is. English teacher at heart. I'm going to include that poetry. And you'll notice they say, make the room look fantastic with decorations. So of course, that's my clue that you're looking for some sort of decoration, and you can write the word balloons, and that gets it in. So fun, right? So that's it. That's how you can solve this one. If you solved it, congratulations. If you didn't, there you go. Feel free to use this with your groups if you'd like to. Ask them to fill out, especially like where in the world they're from, because I love to see that. Now, the beta test is really important. When you create this, you can put it out on social media sometimes if you're doing it with your class and say, hey, anyone want to test this breakout and here's what it's about? Or ask, grade partners or family members if it's something more generic like my birthday one. It's very important for you to have a beta test of some sort for your activities, because they're going to find problems or issues. Things like if you forgot to put that custom error text, things like you thought it was 1226, but you unfortunately typed the wrong thing in, or you said use all caps and you yourself forgot to. You can iron out those little kinks that you might not see otherwise. Beta testing is super, super important. So the other tips that I have for you are these. First of all, I like to create a single folder in my drive called Digital Breakout EDU. And then within that folder, I would have like my birthday breakout or my holiday breakout or my grade 6 social studies breakout, so that it's easy access and I can find everything. This is also where I might put things like that receipt I created. Instead of just keeping it on my local drive, I would probably upload that to my Google Drive so it's all in one place. You can also drag the URL of your Google site onto the bookmark bars for really easy access. And what I mean by that is I'm going to open my bookmark bar here. If I wanted this URL for like this page, or actually let's go to my actual site here. So we saw this is the site. If you grab that little lock and I drag it in, it actually just brings anything to your bookmark bar. Yeah, I know you can click the star as well, but sometimes it's not going to go where you want. I love that drag and drop thing. That's just sort of like a bonus. Like I said, make sure you beta test, run the games by, and make sure you keep a clear record of all codes. Remember that folder that you created, like the birthday breakout, have a Google Doc in there with your answers, because you might create it and be like, oh, this is awesome and I can do it and this is amazing. And then sometimes you kind of forget what your answers are, and you're going to have to like open the form, and you don't want to mess with that. Having it in one place is really easy access for you, especially if you create one and then don't use it for a number of months or even a couple of years, because that tends to happen. So that, my friends, is creating your own digital breakout for your students. Like I said, you can create them for your students to do. And once they've done a few themselves, I have them create them themselves, especially as a review activity. It's a lot of fun. They get really invested, and it really shows their own outside the box thinking and their knowledge of the content. So thanks for joining me. I will see you in the next back to school conference session. I'm Jen Giffen, and we'll see you later.